Welcome to my new studio. We are starting the build of the room. So we're going to do the ceiling first. The first thing we're going to do today is build a square bass trap in the upper corner of the room where the ceiling meets the wall. Bass travels along the walls, and then where the wall meets the ceiling in that corner, you get like the most efficiency when you want to trap bass. You want to do like 1 meter by 1 meter, 3 feet by 3 feet. If you're American, we can't do that because it's a small room, it's a low ceiling, so we're going for 40 by 40. The ones we're getting is 22 by 50. First thing I want to do, put them on the floor and then see if they're fine. Okay, that's good. As long as there's nothing that's going like that. Let's do 5 of these. What can't you fit in a polo? Comment down below what you can't fit in a polo. First thing we need to do, because we need to have this level. Now, what I wanted to do was get a cross laser, which you can put on a stand, and you can put it to that height, and then it just gives you a laser all across the room. I was like, that is amazing. Then I checked the price. 400 euros. All the panels that I'm going to do is not even 400 euros. I am broke, like I've mentioned many times before, so this is going to be a budget build. So, I've got screws that are long enough, hopefully, to do drywall into the OSB. So we want to pre-drill. We want to have something that's similar size to this, so yeah. It'll work.
That's what she said.
Sure. She knows it's a little bit bigger than that one. We're not going to make this look pretty. Some measurement first. And that's
Big cancel coming up.
thank you.
That's what she said.
Is this going to be the entire video? That's what she said, Over here, we're gonna measure 42. The first screw of the day, of the studio build. Woo! Wow. So then over here, I'll do the same. Let me pre-drill for a second. Yeah, 42. Yeah, so that is basically going to be it for the entire wall there and the entire wall there. The moment of truth. Yes, it's level. What we're going to do is, we've got the 3 slats over there. Then we're going to build the other sides. So we'll put that like that. And then the small ones you've got, we'll put onto this first, this big one. Then we take those off of the wall. We complete this frame. And then we put that on over there. And then we can connect it to the ceiling later. First, we're gonna measure 60 centimeters. 120, 194, let's just put one at 160 as well. Doesn't need to be pretty, just needs to work. And then I need 38. I just want to sand it down a tiny bit because we're going to put the fabric over later. And if we have like uneven or too sharp bits, it's gonna be ugly. They hopefully cannot hear the music. I'm so
I mean, I could like close our perfect door.
wonderful door supported by session now. Great, and then that's gonna go up like that. That's basically going to be the entire thing. Okay, so we've tacked the frames together. The nice thing is that there's 11 studios being built, that they've got a ton of equipment. They let us use. So that's great. That went so much quicker. It's basically big nails that just go through this into wood. Solid. Now I'm pre-drilling the holes to put them onto the wall. I'm alternating them. So one is lower and one is higher. Kind of randomly putting these in, but I'm trying to keep like 20-30 centimeters between each hole. Okay, we're back. It's another day. I am all by myself. Cue Whitney Houston. I don't know. Today I want to kind of finish at least this one over here. And as I don't have anyone to help me out, I can't really do this one because you saw how it went with the three of us. So let alone if I do it myself. So what we are going to do today is we need to connect this to the ceiling. So we're going to do this. And then we're going to chop off a couple of those boards. So that is what I need to cut. And then sure, you just stay there. But then the important part for that is that this does this. So we need to connect here so this is even more stable. But then this needs to connect to the ceiling so we can staple in the cloth over here, wrap it around here, and then put it in there. So this needs to be nice and snug, which you can already see. It's not going amazing because this has a little bit of a bow on it. So we're going to use this board for these ones. Okay, I'm not going to make this too hard. Just gonna do this and then I actually need to be slightly lower. 40.5. I think first I need to find 3 planks that are actually straight enough. Like that. That's straight enough for me. Okay, with these I don't have to be precise, so that's great. Great. I don't have to cut them to the exact same length because we made them a little bit short anyway. Great. That, let's see, right there. Great. Halfway here. I don't think any more than 1 screw, but maybe I do and I'm screwed. Woo! The fact that it's Sunday and I'm tired does not mean I have less bad jokes or dad jokes. Ooh, balance. Great. Let's see. Just put this up. I've got a little bit of play so I can pull it up a bit. Maybe I need more. Oh, it's actually 42. Am I making sense? Let me think for 1 sec, then I'll be back. Yeah. It's one of those days. Leave a little bit of play over there. Maybe I'll put in one more. What I want to try now. Now I've never done this before, so I don't know if this is going to actually work. So if you want to give me tips in the comments, feel free, but make them constructive. I'm gonna do this and then put it on there. So we can still do this and then fine tune in a second. Or I can measure like that, put the blocks in, and screw this on. Which, no, I think that might be easier. I wish I had like a holster. I wanted to do the flip, but I'm not going to do the flip. No, not right now. Not ever. I mean, let's measure along that. We have an accurate measurement. 40, sure. Well, that 1 millimeter, only I am going to see. Yeah, and that should be the same as that. Can I then already loosely put that beam up? I'm leaving this like that because maybe I still need to change it when this one goes on, because I want this to be as flush as possible. Might have been easier to put this over here, so I could screw in over here and screw in over there. This, I want snug on there, but not too snug. So the small one can be slightly tucked in. Then step 2 of my plan. I'll put the glasses on for step 2. This is slightly harder because I want it to be snug over there. And then I also want it to drill in over here. Don't know if this was the best idea. But yeah. Just think it's all very awkward to do on your own. But hey, you might be doing the same. You might also not have friends. And then we can do this. Once this is snug, we tighten up the ceiling. I actually really don't think we need an extra screw. One step I forgot, but which, yeah, kind of doesn't matter right now, is to check if this is 42. Yeah, ish. So maybe I need to loosen this up later and then get it back to 42 again. It's a bit out of whack there, isn't it? Yeah, just don't think I'm going to get it extremely straight, but we can try. Also, once fabric is on, you're not going to see that. Let's do the next one. Yeah, it's both a bit annoying, but it works. Maybe, I've got a new idea. Maybe I first do this and these in one frame. And then I put this up, screw in these holes over there, and then I do these. I'm just doing one hole right now, so I can still align later. Doesn't matter, you can fix it, you can fix it. That is 42. Yeah, 42 and a half. We're not gonna see anything from here to the back, so it's fine. What I'm going to do right now is scrap that. I'm going to drill a 45-degree hole over there so I can screw in to that. And then I hope I don't split any wood. Yeah, no, that's not working. It's splitting over there and it's, yeah, no. Let's try putting that on. That's not the 6th time that something fell. Not at all. And that is the end result. And now we can put in the staples like that and go around that as well. And there's a little bit of an air gap for if anything decides to move or whatever happens, and so I can tuck in the fabric over there. Great, we're back. Day 3 of the build. I learned a lot from doing that side. I tried 3 different methods and I think the last method works best. So what we're going to do today is I prepared these. Those are the top ones to go into the ceiling. So the first thing we're going to do is put them up, measure 42 centimeters and screw these into the ceiling. Because then what we can do is we can get these up and then you can hold them up while I screw them onto that top beam and into the wall. And I think that is going to make life way easier for us. The more you do on the ground, the easier the entire build will become. Got new tools, no more shitty, shaky ladders, but this might actually make things a little bit nicer and easier. Also this might make things a little bit nicer, but just don't exactly know how it turns on. Oh, that's checking battery. Oh. So with this, we can actually put this up, and then you see a line there. And then if we measure over there, if it's 42 centimeters, when we measure over there, if it's 42 centimeters, the laser is going to be straight, so we've got a green line on the ceiling of 42 centimeters. And then we can grab the top planks and just put them there, and they're in before you can say hail.
Hail?
Yeah. Well, hey! To infinity and beyond. Oh. To the counter. Is that 50? I've marked 42 centimeters over here. See if it's actually 42. No, it's 41 and a half. 42.2. I'm just going with it, man. How much are we betting that this is exactly 42? $10.
$10? Okay.
It's 42.
Nice.
Okay, they're both up. Both of the corner traps are in. We just finished the corner traps. We are going to get ceiling panels on the ceiling. So the first thing we are going to do is measure the width of this and then see how big our ceiling panels need to be. The width of the room, 375. Minus 42, minus 84. Can't believe we need a calculator for this. If we make the panels 60 wide, 120, we get a gap of 18 centimeters on the side. That is 18 centimeters. Alternatively, I could make them 64 wide, because then we don't have to cut any of the insulation material, because that is always 60 wide. So with 64, because these planks are 2, you just cut 60 wide, these right on top of them, slide in the acoustic material, and then we've got a 64 panel, so we are on 128, but then we only have 10 centimeters. I think it's not going to be enough for me to nicely be able to mount stuff. Maybe we're going for 62. I didn't bring my laptop, so I can't show you the design, but we're skipping now to me talking about the design. The design I have in my mind is this one, so it's really nice that we can see it from the top of the room. So we've got these panels over here, they're all going to be 200 centimeters long, and we've got a row of 4 and then 3 times throughout the room. So 12 panels in total, and they are going to be slightly at different heights. So the ones in the middle are going to be 5 centimeters lower than the ones on the outer left and right, because then in the middle I get more absorption because I can hang the panels a little bit lower, and I thought it was a cooler design. So you see that this is slightly lower than the rest, and then we get a gap over here, a gap over here, and a gap over here, and I can also continue that ceiling from the back of the room all the way to the front of the room. It is going to be a little bit of a tricky design, as you just hopefully saw. Basically, ceiling panels that go in an angle over here, so we get more trapping like that. And then here I want to place panels of 20 centimeters deep. That will be 2 meters, and then maybe we leave a little bit of a gap, but ideally, design-wise, I would get them like snug as almost one row, then 2 meters and 2 meters. The only thing I need to check is if that's actually going to fit. Okay, so we've got 690. So a 2 meter panel plus the 20 centimeter panel is going to stop right here, right behind the sweet spot. And then a 2 meter panel is going right there. Rear wall is going to be until this tape over here. So if we grab that, we've got about 15 centimeters of play. This might be too much. We could choose to do like a 5 centimeter gap, a 5 centimeter gap, and a 5 centimeter gap. I just have to lay them out on the floor and then see what we're going for. Bow. We decided on 62 centimeters, so we'll just cut 8, 16, 32, 48 planks of 2 meters. If you want to make these panels yourself, this is not a job I would personally do with a handsaw. So a good miter saw is a must. It doesn't have to be this fancy Festool one I'm using over here. Normally, I actually use my €250 Metabo one, which works absolutely fine for this work. Okay, that's all the long ones, the 2 meter ones. And then these all need to go to 62 centimeters. Right now they are 69 centimeters. So we need to take off 7 centimeters over here. If only I knew back then, I was about to make a big mistake. Unfortunately, I just found out during the edit of this video, but I guess later in this video you will see the end result of me making this mistake. And here you see me make the same exact mistake 80 times, over and over again. And then on to 30 pieces of 20 centimeters. Here I'm using a trick I learned from one of the guys over here. I'm clamping a piece of wood to the miter saw at exactly 20 centimeters from the blade. This way I don't have to re-measure every time I need to cut a piece of wood, and I can actually slide it over and the blade will be at exactly 20 centimeters from that stop block. And then you end up with a big pile of wood. Time to screw everything into the frames we need for the ceiling panels. Oh, and always remember to pre-drill because we don't want to split the wood and have to recut something. So we're gonna mark everywhere we're gonna put a plank basically. So you're gonna do on the edge over there, we need a plank to go like that. And then every 50 centimeters, I want one to go like that. So if you mark that, then I can really quickly drill all the holes that's needed for that. Then afterwards we can screw the frames together and we'll be done in half an hour.
Yep, 25.
Make it 20.
The reason I'm putting the middle 3 planks flat on the bottom of the frame is because I want to have as much space for the rock wool as possible. This does increase the risk of seeing the rock wool through the fabric, but hopefully these planks will keep the rock wool far away enough so we won't see any of it later. So these are the ceiling clouds. This is going to be the bottom. So it's gonna hang like this, the rock wool on top, and then fabric around them. Instead of making the sides with 20 centimeter thick wood and making them super heavy and expensive and clunky, I am going to basically cut small. This one's going to be 20 centimeters, that one's going to be 15. Going to cut small 20 centimeter slats that we're going to put it like that. And then that way we're going to create the entire skeleton of the frame. Hopefully this is not going to pull too much. Otherwise we just need to put in an extra one. I think as this is going to be the top, that's going to be fine. Now we need to connect those two together because this both is going to form one ceiling panel. We need 6 of those. So we got a little bit of work left to do. Now you have to be precise when making the frames this way. Especially making sure everything is at 90-degree angles is very important, as you will unfortunately see later in this video. Basically, this now is the left front half. So we need another one of this combo on the left side as well, and then that in the middle and in the back as well. So we need this combo 5 more times. So we've got big ones on the inside because I want the most amount of insulation there, and then like that. This one over there. So then this is perfectly straight, and then on this side, you see that this sticks out a little bit. I am hoping that that is going to be a super cool design feature. Maybe it's going to be super ugly design feature. But then I've used these with screws, and then I can still put them to the same size or make these bigger or whatever. Let's just put them together, measure a lot of stuff, and put them on the ceiling. This is not final yet because fabric still needs to go on. But I do want it to be connected together already. That's not going anywhere. We just put in single screws over here. Is that when you push the top, the entire top frame went that way. So we need to make sure that this is straight. You can see it here. It's like half a centimeter. We're just going to push that back. And here, also. We're going to add some screws into that. So this is the difficult part. I'm now figuring out on making them like these. Because this top and bottom is never going to be 100% straight. We're just going to figure out how we can make that exactly the same. And if we need to make that exactly the same. Because there's going to be a 15 centimeter gap. And it's only what? It's just going to be a small difference over here. As long as this is aligned. It's not pretty. Is it going to bother me? Yeah, probably. That is more than 270. This needs to screw in here. Because this is going to fasten it to the ceiling. And otherwise this is going to have a lot of stress on it. My idea was we mount plank number 1 on the panel. We have plank number 2 right on top of it. We pre-drill once, so plank number 1 and plank number 2 have the holes in exactly the same spot. And then we put this plank on the ceiling with the anchors. We put the chains down, and exactly at the same spot that gravity takes that chain is going to be that
For the plank
hook on the panel. So keeping that as one is going to make it easier. It is going to make it uglier. So maybe this is faith saying, maybe you should cut it in 2 pieces. So then maybe we'll do that. So we put them snug on there. Also, I need to make sure that I'm not tightening them all the way yet, because we gotta hang them, take them off, take them apart, put fabric on, put them back together, hang them again. Right now it's just the frames. Get the frames up, see if they align. If I need to do any changes there, then we can. And then we know that it's set. Then I can put the fabric on them, put them back together, and then I know if I don't do anything crazy, they're going to be exactly how we put them up today. Thanks. 6 centimeters. And here it's 6. And then now, because I put them on top of each other, should have holes on both planks right at the same spot. So now if we put in hooks in there, we'll put in hooks in there, that should be exactly at the same spot. So that way we don't have to align 8 separate holes, but we just have to align 2 separate planks. Over here, it is important that, I'm saying it wrong actually, that these are pointed that way, because we're hanging them from these first. If we put them that way, then you put the cable, the chain on here, and it slips out. So these need to go like that, so we can first hang them like that, vertically, and then we can grab that part and hang it over there.
The big test. coming up.
They're all crooked. I haven't deadlifted in a while, but today, actually this is a bent over row, isn't it? No, I'm not going to do that, but this is how they go onto the ceiling. So we're going to screw this to the ceiling, and then we can still adjust these to hang them straight. Okay, so we grab the laser again to exactly measure where on the ceiling we should put this first beam. It takes a lot of time to get it exactly right, but hopefully we did our jobs right and we got it to where it needs to be. The moment of truth. First, put some screws in here already. Ooh, I've got holes in my pants, so screws are gonna come out like either this way or that way. All my money is in this studio build.
Yeah.
That like my clothes are just done. I've ripped another pair of pants as well. So it's yeah, it's now or never. Guys, if you want to support me, buy new pants and maybe build my dream studio, there's affiliate links down below. You can use those. And if you buy anything at Thomann or KMR, Germany or the UK, you get to get your gear and I get to get a little bit of a kickback from you. Also, on KMR Audio UK and Germany, you get 5% off with the code Thomas5. So pick yourself up some discount, build your dream studio and help me build my dream studio. You grab the left or you stay in the middle. Just grab my spot over here.
Yep.
And then we align exactly over here. Moment of truth. Go. I won't screw it in completely, because then we can still fix it. 27 we said, right?
Yeah.
27? Ah, 24.
24.
That's 27.
I got that.
Just now at Jason's studio, he has like flush mounted ATC monitors and it's like a LED front wall and it's like big, massive, precise thing. And the other guy, one of the builders, we were sitting there and we were like, yeah, it looks really nice, right? And he goes like, it's just a shame that one of the monitors is like 1 centimeter higher than the other. And everybody in the room got a heart attack. Everybody went like, wait, what? And he started laughing at me. Like, okay, never do that again. What we need to do is these holes and those, we need to know the length. This is another point where stuff can go wrong very easily. That is 180 and 180.7. These are the outer ones, so these are the ones all the way on the right and all the way on the left. So if we go 181 between the holes, that one in that corner, and then 180.7 from that one in that corner, and we should be fine. I've hung panels before, but like this project is a lot more than I've ever handled. So there's gonna be some mistakes at some point. Maybe you're screaming at your TV or your laptop or your phone like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? It is what it is. Okay, then comes the moment we've all been waiting for.
The hanging of the panels. We're first getting them down underground vertically so we can easily lift them up to the chains in a second. Once that is done, we can lift the bottom of the panels up to the second row of hooks. By the way, even if you don't need the chains for the final hanging position, I feel hanging these panels without using chains is almost impossible. They really make your life a whole lot easier. And then we repeat the same process on the other side. Using the chains, we can really easily adjust their height, which will come in handy later when we start measuring the room and making our final adjustments.
We've hung them up over there. The only thing is that, yes, I calculated a gap in between them, but this is a very big gap, 16 centimeters, and then here on the side I wanted a gap, but that barely is a gap right now. So I kind of want to make more space over here and less space over here. Now luckily we put them on these beams, these planks on the ceiling, so we can just move all of the left ones 5 centimeters to the right, the right ones 5 centimeters to the left, and then we're fixed. Another thing I need to fix is that this is slightly lower on the left. So that we need to fix, and the gap we need to fix, because now it's like buck teeth, which is nice if you want to mount stuff over here, but I don't think I like this for if I need to put an Atmos speaker up or need to put lights there, and I don't like such a big gap right on top of my head.
As I mentioned before, using the planks to hang it all makes these final adjustments way easier. It's a matter of measuring where the hooks need to go, pre-drill that and screw them into the correct position. Then we can easily put the panels back up and see if that is actually any better. With those done, we can move on to the second row of panels. These were slightly more difficult as there was a lot of measuring and calculating involved to get them in the right place and have a perfect gap between rows 1 and 2. The gap between rows 1 and 2 is going to be pretty tight. We had to hang them on the rear hooks first before pulling the front of the panels up to the ceiling. And we repeated all of those steps for the third row. Starting with the 5th plank that screws into the ceiling, measuring the ends to make sure that we are exactly in the middle before we commit and screw it into place. Then measuring the distance between ceiling plank 5 and 6 to make sure everything will be as straight as possible once we hang the panels. We again start by hanging the rear side of the panels first, but quickly moving on to the front, and after repeating the exact same process, all of the panels are up on the ceiling. Using the chains, we again lift them up to as high as they can possibly go, so we have as much headroom as possible, literally. And the ceiling is framed up, so we've got all of the frames on the ceiling right now, and the mistake I made that I was talking about in the beginning of the video, which makes the gaps smaller than I wanted, is maybe you've noticed, but I wanted these to be 60 wide, the entire frame. I, by accident, made these inner planks 62 centimeters. I don't know what happened, but I made an error in my thinking. And now these are 66 centimeters wide, the frames per piece. So an entire thing is 132, and that makes that this gap and this gap is a lot smaller than I wanted them to be. Now, I don't think I minded that much, because actually I think if I made them as small as I wanted to make them, then I think the gaps would have been very, very big and they would have just annoyed me. And now I actually think it's nice and snug. Like over here, we've got, it's almost aligned, and over here, it's almost aligned. So that would be the things that I'm going to do right now. Now, they're not covered in fabric yet, so it's easy to get to all the hooks. So I can put them up a little bit higher, a little bit lower, and see where every line actually aligns. Yes. And then, after I do that, it is time for the actual sidewalls and the panels on the front, because those are going to continue from the ceiling down to the floor. So that will also be another set of these frames. So that is for another video. Thank you for watching this one. Next week I've got a bit of a different video, but the week after I will be back with the studio build. So thanks for watching. If you want to help me build my dream studio over here, check out the affiliate links down below and use the code Thomas5 for the KMR Audio Germany and UK shops. Leave a like, subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any of it, and if you want to see more in-depth updates on the studio build, check out the virtual internship down below through the join button. Okay, that's it for me. I'll see you on the next video.
Later.
If you decide to make the panels exactly how I am doing, please do yourself a favor. Because right now, this needs to be half a centimeter higher to be aligned with this. So what I need to do, because I screwed them in from the outside, these vertical planks. I don't know how to call them. But what would have been easier is if these holes would have been on the inside, because then right now I could unscrew them, pinch this together, and actually make that frame fit. So if you're doing this, learn from me, put them on the inside. Here is my idea on SketchUp, and I've laid it out over here on the floor already. I am going at an angle from here because I think I want to trap as much low end as possible, so I am just going to continue on the line over here where the corner trap is in the ceiling, so that is going to be 42, and then over here on this side I want a little bit more room. Today we're first going to build this part. Let's see how we're going to build that. Okay, so the first thing I want to figure out is how to build the frames over here so I can put fabric on top of them later. But the big challenge is later that we need to be able to staple in everything while screwing the frames to the wall and not be able to see all the staples. And that has been doing my head in for the past week. But I think I found out a way to do it. So the first thing I'm gonna wanna do is build these frames, almost brackets, on the walls. Okay, so you say this frame we've pre-made and then put it onto the wall and then build the rest of the frame up.
Yeah.
Okay. What I want to do is I want to have spacers underneath, and I was thinking 2 centimeters, but maybe one of the 5 centimeters. So we put it like that. So we have a little bit of space so we can put cables underneath. Then we've got a little bit of extra room over on this side and not on this side. But I think I calculated a little bit more room there. But just to check, see there's a little bit of a gap over there. So we can actually push this side a little bit more to the wall. Okay? Just push this in as far as we can and then screw it in. The other side, we are going to make the panels 222 high. So that is just a little bit higher than the door. And then you say, Paul, we have a little bit of a gap we can fill with some nice panels to make this ugly bits go away.
Make a new door frame on top of the door frame. So optically it is the new door frame.
Okay. And then if we make these higher because there's going to be wheels under it or feet or whatever, they can also match that. And then it might also be nicer if we want to build in the AC unit. Before we get there to that height, we need to get to another height. Because here I need to cover this as well. Same as with the door, we need to cover all the ugly bits. We're going to make a panel first up until this height. I'm thinking 82 because then we get like that plank over there, we get here at 82 to 84. Or should we then do 84 and then it's up to 86? Because then, that would be nice.
Okay, you want the panel to be flush with the window.
Maybe, yeah. We made a mistake. I made a mistake. I wanted this to be flush over there. But the idea I have is that I'm making frames like this and I'm putting them on over here. So this is going to be the bottom of the frame, then we're going to build the frame like that. And then we're going to put a board like this to cover up the bottom. But I want that to be flush with this. So if I move this out, this panel is now going to be 2 centimeters more that way, which is not a problem over here, but over there, it means it's going to stick out there and it's not going to be flush with the corner trap over there, which I wanted. So it's good that I check it now, because what we need to do is basically make sure that the frame makes the bottom frame, makes this top frame end up like this. So we need to take this one apart again. We just pre-cut all of these pieces and those pieces, but we need to take 2 centimeters off of all of them. And then we should be able to make everything flush and aligned and everything. Cut that off and then see if it does work. The moment of truth. 16 and a half. So that's going to be 18 and a half. That's what I wanted. And 40. So that's going to be 42. That's exactly what the corner trap is over there. So that should actually work. Maybe it's better to first build that panel and then see if this neck panel aligns. Nice, okay, so we've got the frame for the bottom. It's a bit jiggly, but it's going to be fine. So we're going to wrap this frame in fabric later. That is going to go on top of this. And see now, if we made the exact same frame again, then we had to put it on top here.
Yeah.
And I want to put it behind, so we can put it behind and then put the next panel over here. And just have a gap over here that we can use to staple the fabric in and put one of those wood strips in and cover everything up nicely. It's a good call that we first made this, because now we can see what height that new support frame needs to be, and then we can make the top frame. Let's put the other, yeah, you see? See where we thought it was going to be?
Yeah.
Huh? No, this is not correct. Is this 86?
Oh.
Did we use the wrong planks?
No, maybe you measured from the floor.
We need to take off 10 centimeters. Oh, yeah. Because of this, we would put this. Yeah, that is actually, that aligns perfectly. This is going to be a long studio build. Okay, so take it apart, cut 10 centimeters off, and then we put it on again.
Yeah.
Step by step. So when you, at the first go, build the perfect frame, it ends up like this. There's one thing you really need to check if you're going to build the frame. This needs to be on the inside, because if we have this on the outside and we're going to wrap the fabric, fabric is going in like that. So that is something you always need to check when you're making those frames like this and panels and everything. I hope we didn't check it over here, but I don't see, here, there's one over there, see? Yeah, maybe we need to fill that up before we put fabric over it. You could also leave that as a character piece, but you might not want that. So this will go on like that. Yeah, and then that will make a lot more sense. I want this to go like this, and then we have this panel over here. That is almost the same width as this. So then this goes on there. Then we need a little bit of overlap over there for the next panel. So it's gonna be like that. Let's build that next one, because it needs to be smaller. Try to take off 5 centimeters of these and these, and then we'll build a frame, and you get to see if we actually did it correctly or not. We need to be exactly in between this. So half a centimeter higher and lower. We're going to finish the sidewall, so I have made these frames over here. We got a laser, so we've got one green line
completely level, which is going to make this job way easier. So we are going to do both sides because we started with the left, but we're going to simultaneously do the right. So we're first going to build up these two frames onto the wall on the right, and then we're going into the height. Bow. Yeah, it's full rap album, this video. Those frames are on right now, then it's important that they are stiff enough, because if I take this out, that is no bueno. So we need to put some extra brackets in between. But the important part is that they're not going to bow or move. They need to be straight. So luckily we've got the laser over here. You look over there, then you see that I've pointed the right side on that corner, then on that corner, and then over here. You see that here, we're like half centimeter too much to this side. So I need to put this in a way that we can be here. I could have screwed this into this side because that would have been easier, because then I only had to screw this in and I didn't need to do what I'm about to do right now. But I needed to do a lot of calculations for that. I didn't finish high school, so actually I did finish high school. So we do it like that. Now it's straight, so then we don't get any weird wobblies and bobblies later. Okay, so we do that for all four of them, and then we go on to the next steps. I got 6 of these planks because I want to add them inside of the frame, like this. 3 on each side, because we've got a little bit of play and it's fine. I just want to make it a little bit more sturdy. Might be overkill, but hey, rather have overkill than my sidewalls on the floor. I don't think this is going to add sturdiness, now I'm thinking about it. This is why this build is taking so long, because I change my mind every single minute. Is this going to have reflection? Yes, it is. Just do the last bit and then maybe one in the middle. I mean, I don't mind reflection that much. But over here, for sure, we need some support. We'll just put it in here and then see where else we need some support, I think. What do you think? I think we need to do one in the middle.
Do I have a hole in my pants?
This is how much money is going into this studio build. Every single pair of pants I own has a hole in it. So again, if you want to help me buy a new pair of pants, then use the affiliate links down below to Thomann, KMR Audio Germany and the UK, and with those 2 KMRs you get 5% off with Thomas 5, and all of those give me a tiny bit of money so I can build my dream studio and hopefully buy a new set of pants. Okay, then.
Super sturdy.
So that's great. That's not going anywhere. Now I need to build more of these frames because I made this to measure if everything worked, but basically I need to build 3 more of these frames. 1 of this size for the bottom over there, and then 2 taller ones that go all the way up to there. I begin by laying down the planks to form the panel I want to build. Then I want to start on the outer corners and then measure where the inner planks need to go. After pre-drilling those holes, I screw in the inner planks, and notice how I'm putting planks under those to use as spacers. That's an important step for later. Next, I use these what we call hook planks. They literally create a hooking system we can use to hang the panels. I start by hanging them randomly, but I soon noticed I needed to put a little bit more thought into it, as you can see over here. A quick and easy fix, just mark where they need to go and move them over there. Then I put the cover panel up I'm again using spacers between the two frames, and then I can attach the hooks where I need them to go on the cover panel. And then it's on, and then the thing I feared the most actually happened. Okay, then it is time for the last frame for the sidewalls. What I tried on this side is this system. It's basically a 45-degree angle on this, and then this top block goes into here. That's the outer frame that gets the fabric on it, and this goes to the inner frame. So now we can just slide that in and still have a little bit of play from left to right. And that seems to be working. So let me show you how I'm doing that over here. As those blocks need to be flush with the back of the frame, I'm just putting these blanks in with the same spacer here, 2 centimeters. So that is exactly the same height as those blocks over there. And then I can put this in, put one of those blocks in later. And then it will all be perfect. Okay, let's first check where those lines are. Like that. And like that. Okay. Then we've got these nice blocks. And then that side over there. Then I can first put the bottom one on, just temporarily. Then we can put a couple of spacers in there, because I want that to be the gap. And then that's gonna go on like that. So we'll do this. And your uncle's called Bob. Okay, that's no, only one person is going to understand that joke, but hey. Yes, it's Bob's called your uncle.
No.
Bob's your uncle. Sorry, wow. I almost said it, I almost messed it up completely. And that's that. I'm still in doubt if I should do the same with the bottom panel, but something in me says I should just wrap that in fabric. And because I can still get to it from here with this panel off, I can just screw it in from the back. And then I don't really need to be there because I made them higher so I can put all the cables underneath. So there's no real reason why that should be a panel as well. That is then maybe not going to be completely snug and everything, because like you can see here, this still has play. So I could say I'm going to make another one of these over here and on that side. Maybe I might do that. Okay, I've found a system that I think is going to work for the bottom panel, because right now it's loose on top. So I've made these blocks here underneath, made those blocks. Yeah, it's not going great. Made those blocks to overshoot, so they can slide in like that. So they keep it snug over there. But then we need to somehow fix this together. But if you see, screwing it into here is angled to be awkward, and I'm probably going to split this panel. So what I want to do is this. I'm going to screw this one to the bottom of this, like that. And then I've got a small one like that. I just need one screw in this, as long as it's not going to split. And then I can just put that there. And I'll just get this as snug as possible with my hip, and then push this block there. And then that's not going anywhere. And then when I need to take it off,
Just take this block off and I can take off the entire panel.
Okay, so I made one big mistake that I still need to fix, and that's this. See how far that overshoots? That does a lot less. And this does none at all. So I think this one and the top frame need to go closer to the wall. Now here you can clearly see that it has too much of a gap, so I could fix that. Over here, we don't have that same problem. Tiny bit, but definitely not something that's causing this issue. So the question is, am I going to take this apart and make it smaller? Or am I just going to continue building from here and fix it by moving these over slightly? Let me know in the comments what you would do. All right, new day, new me, new studio. We've done the side panels and the front panel. That I'm not going in depth about because that's just an extension of the ceiling. I'm making a reel on that. So if you want to see that, make sure you follow around with all the channels. Today, because we need to continue the sidewalls, but I need to figure out how I'm exactly going to do it. Sometimes you need to call people that know more about certain stuff than you do. Yes, we're here. When I'm going to do Atmos, it won't be right away because that's just not doable yet. But I just want to make sure that with what I'm building right now, in 3 months or 5 months, I just don't want to go, ah, shit, I should have done that when I was building.
How big is the room?
It is 675 long by 375 wide and 275 high.
Okay, yeah, well, I think that's already good information. I think in terms of room height, you're probably more on the lower end, but you're still within, like, I think the tolerance where you could easily work with Dolby. Yeah, the rest of the dimensions sound good to me. At the end of the day, I guess it's also a question of, yeah, I guess the mounting gear and how much space you would need to invest to make this happen. Acoustics has a system, it's called the V120.
With the brackets, they can mount anywhere on the ceiling, but then they need to go like 20 centimeters down, and then I can hang a speaker there. Could that work?
Yeah, I think that could work. Yes.
Nice. Then I'm thinking about creating a kind of a closet over here. So that's just behind the listening position. Then I probably want to do the same just before the window over here. So I want to do another closet. Put the second speaker over there.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. If you're thinking about using 2 ways for the surrounds, I guess what we've done a lot in the past is to have 2 ways, either 5-inch bass 2 ways or 7-inch 2 ways, used as the surround setting, basically, at the ceiling. And then often we find customers that they like to have a bigger stereo pair in the front.
I've got the 5s already. Cost-wise, the horizontal plane I might want to do the Mark IIs, but then the tops maybe the A-core.
Sonically, that's not a problem at all if you use both of them ported. The only thing you would have to consider is that the MK2s have a higher latency because they have digital processing.
Also without the linearizer.
Yeah, I mean, that makes it a lot better, but still there will be like a few small differences between digital and analog.
We know how much it is, right? So we can just calculate that into the delay compensation and
exactly.
Nice. We spoke at Super Booth. You mentioned the Aurea, the Audient Aurea, and then with the Mark IIs, it's really nice that you can stay digital and just convert in the Mark IIs.
Yeah, that's a killer setup.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm mentioning other speaker brands, but you know I've got the 25s. Would you feel it's very weird if I keep my 25s as the left-right in the Atmos setup? Or would you say maybe you want to do like 2 Type 7s next to it for the Atmos setup?
I think on your sophistication level, I would probably recommend a pair of Type 20s as lefts and rights. If you think within the head context, just the most complete speaker we have. I think the most universal speaker we have.
Right now you're doing a B-stock sale of all the monitors that have like really minor visual cosmetic issues, or
If you make speakers or headphones, you're constantly producing a certain amount of B-stock because not every cabinet is perfect, not every woofer is completely scratch-free. It's basically stuff like that. So all the B-stock we're selling is B-stock that's freshly produced. So the speakers are in perfect shape when it comes to their sonic quality, their build quality, the mechanics. Just they might have like a little cosmetic issue somewhere. It's perfect product. It's just it might have like a little visual issue somewhere.
and then we'll take the price down a little bit. So that's great. So you can all build Atmos setups. By the time this video comes out, you will have about 3 more days left. So hurry up. I'll put the link down below and then you can check it out over there. Are you going to do another B-stock sale later this year? Just for me? We ran out of planks. We're 160 planks in at the moment. I want to keep it under 200. I think we can manage. So I'm going to buy 4 more stacks of wood, 40 more planks, and then that's it. After that, I'm not buying any more planks. Because the only thing we need to do is build a frame over here that basically works the same as this. So let's get out, get some more wood, and then start building. Yeah, I kind of failed at filming enough content on this part, but it is basically the exact same process as the earlier sidewalls we built. So here's the result of those frames. Looks great, right? After those brackets, I'm moving on to the covers. I'm making them slightly different than the front ones. As you can see, I'm using the small side on the planks to connect them together because that will make the covers 2 centimeters thick instead of 5. That way we don't lose that much unnecessary space. Okay, I think it's all frames done. And we can start doing fabric. Okay, so today I'm moving the speaker stands and the speakers to the studio, but I forgot that when I built these speaker stands, I actually, yeah, you can see it on the floor already, but I filled them up with sand, and normally I put this in bags, like plastic bags, so you can take out the bags and then it's fine. But now I actually glued this so it's sealed, and then I just decided to pour in all the sand like that. But now I need to figure out how I can actually get this sand out of the stand so the stands are light enough to lift them, and then transport this to the studio so I can actually put this sand back in once the stands are in the studio. Wish me luck. Yeah, I'm gonna need it. And then I just do this and I mess up my back. Yeah, okay, no, that's too much. Okay, that might be an option. Come on. Hopefully the way back is going to be easier. Hopefully my back is going to be easier. Okay. Put that back in here. Maybe I should get some good speaker stands. Session Desk has a couple of nice ones. And I'm pretty sure you don't have to do this with those. Take me back to Spain. Consume. I don't know how many liters or kilos or pounds or gallons of sand this is, but it's a lot. Okay, now let's get all of this in the car to the studio. First haul of stuff to the studio. Okay. That was a nightmare. Getting these stands and the ATCs out of my apartment back to the studio. I am completely covered in sweat, but everything made it here, and I am going to quickly install them and then see if we can have a quick listen to this completely empty room. Curious what that is going to sound like. Are we gonna pour it in or just drop this in like that? Work smarter, not harder. I'm sure there's going to be somebody in the comments that says,
no, now there's air between the sand and it doesn't do what it needs to do anymore.
I don't care. Who would have thought this was going to be so easy? Famous last words. Well, I think it's like the cartoon thing you see when Santa drops down a chimney and all the smoke comes out. That's basically all the sand that's now coming into my face. Lift from your hips, not your back. Watching my big butt. I know you enjoyed that. Yes, we need to be very, 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 very careful with this because we obviously still need to take off the frames. They might go on and off, but I do want to measure what this room sounds like or measures like. But if we measure right now, that could give us a good baseline of what's happening with this room. And then after we're done, we can see how much issues we actually solved with all the acoustic treatment, aka how successful this build has been. And there we are. We are hopefully done with all the frames. Well, I've got a couple little things to do still, but big frame work, everything is done. I've got all the covers over here that are going to get the fabric, and then I did all the hook plank thingies for all of them, so that's really nice. I did these slightly different. I did these like this, so they wouldn't take up that much space. So it's only 2 centimeters, like almost an inch. And then I've got like 15 centimeters, what is that? 6 inches for the rock wool and everything. Then I get a little bit more room for all the absorption material here. I just wanted to make them a little bit easier and quicker. Also, I wasn't completely confident I could pull this off yet when I did those. I'm very glad that I went with the option of the hook planks, so I can still take off the covers, and if I need to do anything within the frames, swap out rock wool, put bass straps in there, put different absorption material, diffusers in there, whatever I need to do, I can still do that. Now I can't do that with the ceiling, of course. That will be the first next step, taking off all the ceiling panels, wrap them in fabric, and then once they're all wrapped in fabric, I'd never want to touch those again. First thing we're going to do next video, and that is why I already put the speakers in, is measure this room without any absorbent material in, so we can actually get a baseline measurement, so we know how the room reacts on paper, on a measurement, without any treatment in the room. We are in a room with basically frames, so almost all the framework is done, and now it is time to actually put in some acoustic material to absorb all the sound in the room. We can already hear a difference because the frames basically function as big diffusers, but it is not good enough. The first very important thing we need to do is measure the room as it is right now, because then we know what this room does. Like, we can confirm room modes, we can see what's happening, we can take a couple of measurements of what I think the sweet spot is going to be, maybe a little bit more in front, maybe in the middle, maybe a little bit more to the back, and then we can see, we can kind of confirm what's happening and what we need to fix later, and then also later we can confirm if we indeed fixed those issues. Okay, so it's a squabbly line. There's a lot of issues we've got. So we've got 57, that's a big dip. 76, that's a big boost. So that, if we can fix that, that would be great. And then we've got a big boost at 172 and a big dip at 127, sorry, and 171. Next thing I want to do, put this a little bit further back and then see what we are getting now. And then we can see what placement in the room already does. So we've got 51 hertz, big boost, way bigger than it was. And then this shifted over to 64 hertz. There's like a big dip at 112 now that we didn't have.
Why are you focusing on the low end?
I am focusing on the low end because right now, whatever we do on the sidewalls is going to change everything above 300 drastically. And below 300 is our room modes, so the standing waves between the parallel walls we've got. And that is the biggest thing in the placement of the absorption material that we're going to do later, that I'm trying to fix with that. That is why I'm taking 40 centimeters on the sides for all of that insulation material, and ceiling panels are down to about 60 centimeters over there on the front. And once we do that, we're going to fix a lot of that stuff. Everything above that doesn't need that much acoustic material to be absorbed, so that will be fine. All right, that gives us an interesting insight and an interesting baseline right now that we are going to use later to see how good the build has actually been. Today we are going to build my 19-inch rack. Here on the sidewall I left a little bit of space open, and that is because I want to put a rack, 2 19-inch racks in here that go into the wall. The fake wall, not the real wall. So today, you see the side panels already. Yes, I'm cheating. It's not completely DIY, but I think I've done enough DIYing on this place to call it a DIY studio. I went to the shop, they cut the wood for me, and now with those building blocks, we're going to build a rack. So this should take about an hour, and then we're good. Okay, so first steps I'm doing is putting in these blocks over here just to make it a little bit more cheap for myself, because I had these left over, so I'll use these brackets for later, but I forgot to get more and I don't want to go back. So I've got these 8 centimeter blocks because that's the space I want to keep before we put the bottom plank in. What's going to happen is this is going up like this, and then this is going on top of these. Then I just need to do the same over here, and then this is going here. Okay, then as you see over there, that is basically going to be the main construction. So now I need to drill a couple of holes here where I can screw this in. Put that back up, make sure this is completely snug. And it is, because an actual pro cut it and we didn't do it ourselves. Think I need different screws. Yeah, these just keep on turning. And the screws keep on turning. Too high. I knew it. Maybe these gypsum screws. See if they work better. Yes. It apparently does matter which screws you use. Okay, let's do the other part, the other side. Over? Oh wow. Maybe don't take advice on how to build stuff from a random guy on YouTube that claims he knows how to do everything but actually messes up very badly because he wants to make 700 videos and build a studio in a week. Okay. Do I want to do the brackets? So I don't have screws in here, but it's like, I don't really care anymore. Moving quick. Hopefully it's also going to be good. Would we this snug or recessed? Recessed? Could be nice. Adds a bit of depth and shadow.
You can put LED lights on here.
Okay, that was off camera just now, but I've got one major rule for this entire studio build. LED lights are strictly forbidden in the studio. There will be no LED strips in this studio. Absolutely not. Then to make sure it's 2 centimeters from the front, just going to put in these blocks. This is super handy. This is 2 by 5 centimeters.
1 inch, almost 1 inch by 2 inch. That gives you a measurement that's really easy to keep uniform throughout the entire studio build. So now we can keep this at a 2 centimeter distance. By making it recessed, you don't see these screws because they're going to be behind the rack gear. Got one more plank. Right in the middle. 48 points. So you need a little bit of play, not too much. 48.2, so 48.5. So 49.3 I need to drill. Plus this, of course, 51. What I did not do is measure the inside first, which was 48.3, and then measure on top, measure from the outside. But then you get 18 millimeters from the MDF extra. So then it moves over 18 millimeters. I did not do that. That's why there's no hole there. I think next time I would cut 2 planks of 48.5 and then just slide those in so you could keep it exactly how it should be. Right now I'm just going to put this right side up. Yeah, that is not strong enough. I think we need to glue also. I think I'm going to name this video the worst 19-inch rack ever built. The tutorial. It actually went. Saw that? I do think we need the brackets if we're doing this glueless. Not clueless, but glueless. I am clueless though. Maybe if we put the top plate on, it will be. So this is the finishing touch. Still need to cut it to the exact size. It's been in my attic for a while, so it's not the greatest piece of wood that I ever lived. Maybe I overshoot it. Could that be nice? Mm-hmm. We do flush in the back. We overshoot it a little on the front.
Yeah, I like it.
So you get the lip there. I think I am a fan of just, I don't care if this is ugly inside, you know? I think I am a fan of putting brackets in on the back and then just here, here, there.
That's it.
I really don't care. Those 4 corners, so it's sturdy enough. So I don't have to glue. And then also putting a couple of better screws in. First, I'm going to need to cut that. It's not straight, but that just means it has character. Is this actually too short? Huh? Wait. This is, oh, this one is slanted down. Okay, that sucks. Okay, so because I'm not too confident in how strong this is going to be, I'm going to use a couple of brackets on the back. Like, it's not the most beautiful from like a perspective of cabinet making. I hate myself sometimes. Okay, let's do the bottom first, because then we have gravity on our side. Through perfectly as well. Wow. Yeah, I went through it again. And it's not so sturdy. And then the final finishing touch. I don't even remember what I've built from the rest of this oak panel, but basically it's the same oak as on the speaker stands. So we're getting a similar set, which I really like. So that's going on the top, and then we should be done. 4 centimeters, so that has a high chance of going through. And this is 3.5, so that might stay safe. I'm saying might because, well, we've seen what I did on the sides here. I do not want to repeat that on this top surface. You can see that it has been laying on my attic for
a couple of years, completely lived a life as bowling. Still, I think it looks good. That's a rack done. Put it where it needs to go. Doesn't fit. Imagine. And now it doesn't fit. And then the very last step to finish them off, we need some rack wheels. Otherwise, there's no gear going in there at all. So I've got these longer ones, and then I've got 4 shorter ones as well. Right. Slight issue here. That's not the right height. So I somehow need to take something off of that. Perfect. I hope you like this video about creating the best, perfect, most amazing 19-inch rack for your studio gear. If you try yourself, you now know how not to do this. So yeah, if you want to support me with this studio build, there's a couple of affiliate links down below. Maybe get yourself a nice 19-inch rack from Thomann or KMR Audio Germany or the UK, because with the code Thomas5 you get 5% discount at KMR Germany and the UK. So with that you help yourself to a rack that doesn't fall apart and doesn't have split wood like this, and you help me build the studio of my dreams over here. I built all the frames for the acoustic treatment in my new studio, but now it is time to cover all of it in fabric. I am going to start on the side panels first, because these are just frames you can take off really easily. So I can take them out of the studio, put the fabric over them, and then hopefully they'll be as aligned as they are right now. Yeah, you didn't see that. Okay, before we are going to put on the nice fabric, I want to put on just a very simple cotton layer. Now, this just needs to be breathed through, so yeah, we can breathe through that. That's going to be perfectly fine. And then I just want to pre-staple that onto the frame, and then later we can do the nice fabric. Let's see what happens if we do this. I'm using a base fabric underneath because the wool fabric I'm putting on top of this is very stretchy. To add a little bit of strength and to keep the glass wool fibers in, I'm adding this very breathable black cotton layer first. Steady fabric should be exactly wide enough to put 2 of these frames in. I think because I need to leave a little bit more room there, I'm going to make this, do this one first, pull it up here, pull it out over here, get it as tight as possible, and staple it in. Pull it up, get it tight, staple it in. There, maybe it's a good idea to finish that side. Pull it that way. Don't think this is going to do 2 panels. Well, maybe just. First, cut it off on that side. I don't have scissors, but this will have to do. Or not. Yeah. Without scissors, definitely wool fabric you're not gonna cut. So I'm just working from the inside to the outsides, because then all the slack I can use to actually get enough tension going. I hope that is the right way to do it. Let's see if it still fits. It's a little bit harder because you can't see everything, but nice. Woo! That's nice. I continue wrapping the other 3 bottom panels with the same cotton base layer and the brown teddy wool on top. And that is fabric day 1 done. Okay, wow. I don't think I could have asked for a better end result. I am so happy with this fabric, this color. Man, it matches with the gray MDF
I hope it's gonna match really well with the fabric that goes on top. I think we need about 3 more days for the rest. So it's gonna be tight, and I really like how it matches with the oak on the rack and on the speaker stands, of course. And I think we're going to do one like strip of oak between the two colors to divide them. Audio is good? Okay, first thing on the agenda today is the corner traps. We just got the glass wool in, so I want to stuff all of that in there, and then we can staple that in while the ceiling frames are still open. So step 1 is unwrapping that gigantic pack of glass wool. I got a tiny bit of rock wool I ordered.
I just remind you of the amount of wood you have bought.
200 planks
Yeah.
and 280 sheets of rock wool. Glass wool, sorry. I wanted to do rock wool, but at some point I decided because rock wool is going to be twice as expensive and it's not going to give me that much more absorption, I went for this because this pallet was already 1K and rock wool would have been 2K. Gotta be realistic. Somewhere I might still try rock wool on top of some parts on the side walls and experiment with that. But for the big chunk, for all the ceiling stuff, we'll just do this. Okay, fabric time. This is 30 meters. So that should be exactly enough to do what we need to do because we've got 7 for both corner traps combined, and then we've got 7 for this. So that 7, 21, 28. Those. It's gonna be tight. Once it comes to rock wool and fabric, it's gonna be a lot of making good use of fabric so you don't overpay. Because basically it's not the most expensive fabric, but if that wouldn't work, it would cost me another 100 euros. And every 100 euros is another 100 euros. Another pair of pants. If you wanna help me get a new pair of pants or build my dream studio, check out the affiliate links down below. There's one for Thomann, KMR Audio Germany, and KMR UK. And with the KMRs, you get a 5% discount with the code Thomas5. So pick up yourself something nice with a discount, and that gives me a little bit of kickback to build a nicer studio. And actually, I'm wearing pants that don't have holes today. It's my only pair of pants that still are intact.
1 hour later.
Yeah, I messed up my last pair of pants. So please use my affiliate links.
Wow.
Yes.
No, it smells a bit.
Oh, jeez, it smells like
Terrible.
cow shit. Do you smell it there?
Yeah.
It's like piss.
Yeah, it smells like azijn.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, fuck, why?
Imagine that's been having for years in your studio.
No.
That's why it was 15 euros.
Yeah. You can have it, man. Yeah, it's amazing. More of the rich. Wow, now I'm smelling it, yeah.
When you see the light, you can definitely.
See through?
Yeah, but when it gets darker, it's better. But yeah, it's still white.
I wanted to do this experiment before we were doing this, but Hans said that you can do 3 things. You can cover a bottom panel underneath, like a fabric underneath, a cotton, which I did with the bottom teddies, but that's just for strength. And what you can also do is paint the planks black, or you can use duct tape, gaffer tape. So a bottle roll of gaffer tape. So we can try that on the corner traps. Okay, so as a test to see if we could get away with not doing the fabric before putting on the white fabric, we did one of the panels without any cotton black fabric underneath. That's that one. And that is just a bare frame with this fabric, the white fabric, directly onto it. That one is taped. Now, Paul, cue the lights
if we would do like super bright, all the way open, there, you can't see the edges. On this side, at least in person, you can see it. Yeah, you can see it on the camera as well. Slightly different color there on the side. You can see that it comes through. You can see the frame.
Yeah.
Over there, you can't. And this is something you just don't fix unless you are going to redo the entire room. So I am going to redo that one. But it means that we need to pre-fabric everything or tape everything. So we're with 3, so we've got 3 votes, which is good. What are we going to do? Tape on these edges or put the cotton fabric on?
For these things?
Yeah.
I vote fabric.
I vote tape.
Ooh, it's on me.
Yes.
Do you have a coin?
Flip a coin.
I like that. Heads means we do tape. Okay. Tails is we do fabric. Yeah. What's it going to be?
His heads.
Is it heads? Is that the head?
Yeah.
That's the head. Is that
Oh,
the head is where the head is. What tails is the...
What do you want?
What was
At
head?
this point you could make your own rule.
Heads was tape.
Heads was tape. So it's gonna be...
Looks like we're gonna do tape, which is nicer because I have tape and the fabric, so probably with the tape and the fabric I have, we can get that done. Otherwise I needed to get more cotton fabric and it would mean more money.
And more money we do not want to spend if we do not have to. So tape it is.
Okay, it's wiggling.
Thunder?
Let it go, let it go. Okay, let's put all this shit
Yeah, leave me here.
in there.
Have a coffee or something.
Later man, Paul, come, we're going.
Yep, time to get to work. We're starting by filling the corner traps with the glass wool and then taping the edges where the wooden planks will be against the white fabric.
And then something unforeseen is that this is going to sag down. Fix that. Luckily, we've got tape. Tape this up. Okay, you guys might see that. Something like that. Oh, that's actually going to be really ugly. And somebody starts clapping like a fucking seal in the back. I'm an engineer! Oh yeah, that's good! Whoa! Wow!
Yeah, you can tell when things are taking a long time when the jokes become this bad. After we got that out of the way, we continued filling the corner traps and taping all the edges. And once that's ready, it's time for the fabric.
Alright, we've done the corner traps, filled them up with rock wool, so right now I want to do the first measurement of that. See what kind of a difference that makes, if any. We're, again, just going to do the left speaker, just one speaker, and we're only looking at how the low end behaves. So we don't care that here there's fabric and stuff. If that did something for the low end, then I don't think we would build this entire contraption to actually trap all that bass. Oh wow. If we look at the big issue, it's 57. That is going up a little bit. This is going down a little bit. It's like, it kind of is pushing all the issues back together. Now, here above 350, there's something weird going on, but we're not going to look at that right now because it could very easily be something in the room, this table in the back, I don't know. It looks like all the lines, the squibbly lines we had over here are now kind of getting more chill. We've got the sidewalls completely filled up as well. The first part of the sidewalls, because I wanted to first measure this and then later we're going to fill up this and then measure again. So, without further ado, let's see what this do.
Wow, why is the new line worse? Green is now worse than... Huh? Yeah.
Our hopes are shattered now.
Then next step would be to do the ceiling. So we've got all the first reflection points, and then we move on to the second reflection point. To make sure I cut off the right amount of fabric, I'm stapling on the entire 3 meter or 10 foot long piece first. And I do the same on the other side. I have to say it is a lot more annoying when the ceiling panels are already in place. Next time I think I'd completely finish the corner traps before doing the rest. Well, yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it like that, you know? The entire wall covered. That's great. Oh, what's happening here? Okay. Yeah, it would have been a good idea to put a little bit of extra fabric on this side, a little bit of extra slack. How am I going to fix this? No. Before we worry about that, first we need to finish up the rest of these corner traps. I staple in the fabric on top of the frame before we can move on to the bottom. Let's finish the rest up with tape. Then we can wrap it here on the bottom, which is great because we already filled with... should have thought about that before I put the rock wool in. Well, we can take it out, it's fine. So let's get all of this glass wool out of the sidewalls again so I can actually reach the bottom of the corner trap. Okay, this is by far the most annoying bit because you can barely get the tacker in between here. So that wasn't the best idea, and you have to pull it tight, and you have to like pull it on this side and then stick your fingers in there. You just can't get in there. If only I knew, would have made it 2 centimeters lower so I could actually normally staple that in. Now you know, so you don't have to make that mistake yourself. And then let's see if we can reach here. I'm going to leave a little bit more slack because yes, I have learned from the other side. Yeah, it's getting awkward. I'm glad that I'm not doing this with the panel on. It would have been nicer to do this with the actual panel off, but yeah. I'm not, am I? Okay, so one of the guys that's building the rest of the studio, David, he often comes into this room and then he looks around and he says, why are you making things harder for yourself than they have to be? I started tacking in like this and it was very, very awkward. What he says I should do is this plank, pull the fabric tight first and then push this one in. We'll put this in first and then see if we can pull the rest of the fabric in the same way. Here I'm pulling the fabric around the plank, then pushing the plank into the wall, and then when I'm happy with the amount of tension I've got, I screw the plank into the wall, holding the fabric in place tightly. To finish up the edges, I use this small plank and then I move on to the back of the room. And then it is time for the ceiling panels. So these are going to be one of the more tricky parts of the studio build because I need to take this apart. So what I think I'm going to do, because I need this to stay in the same place, I think I'm just going to unscrew this panel, the smaller one, wrap that, and then wrap the big one with this on, which might be annoying while putting on the fabric, but if I can keep that intact and I can just later put this on exactly how it is right now, that would be great. No tape for these, as I want to make sure the glass wool will absolutely not be visible through these panels. I start by stapling on the black fabric, and to save a little bit of that, I'm taking the risk of only putting it on the bottom frame. Let's hope that's still a good idea after finishing up this panel. After that's done, it's time for the main fabric, cutting it to size and then stapling it on. First I do the long sides, then the short ones, and then the corners, which are the tricky part. After taking off all the excess fabric, I want to make a 45-degree fold. Then we can lay this nice and flat, like that. And I just
want to put one staple in over here just to keep this just in place. Then I want to fold this. But to get the nicest result, I figured out this very slim ruler works wonders. And then you just stretch it over to that side, you roll it over, and then you stretch it over, you roll it over, you stretch it over, and then you play violin over here. The only thing is now I'm bumping into this staple. So we need to get that one out, which this ruler is also perfect for. And now we've got a little bit more free game to make a bit more of an angle. So we can push down on the angle and then push this back. And I found that gives me better results. So I can push that back over there to that corner. And then I can staple that in. And I just roll this access bit back. And then we do this. Rest. Just tighten that up. And then I roll this out a tiny bit. Just fiddle around a little bit until you're happy enough with the result.
And then I'm moving on to the fabric of the other side of that ceiling panel. Honestly, this ceiling design is so insanely time consuming, it better be worth it. And then it is time for the two panels to be joined in marriage.
Look at that! Woo! This is holding, that's holding. I do want to put in 2 more screws to get this really tight together.
Not exactly what I was hoping for, but we just gotta push through and hopefully at some point we get some better results.
Okay, so I've added just one sheet of 15 centimeters to the ceiling, and I'm very curious what kind of an improvement we're going to get. Okay. Somehow it just keeps getting worse. So maybe just the bare room without any of the rock wool in is gonna be best. Why? 110 dropped down to 80 from 90. Dropped down by 10 dB. Why did it do that? I gotta go figure out what's happening, because every time I add more rock wool, it just measures worse. I was hoping we were fixing issues, but at this point, we're just creating new ones.
I then added some glass wool to the middle 2 panels of the front wall to see if that would make things any better. But as you can see, that did not do that much either.
Next step before the ceiling panels go on, because we have all the power we need here for the lights on that side. Over there we need lights. We need some power for if I want to hang the softbox from the ceiling or whatever. I just need power on the ceiling. We need to do that first, because obviously with these wrapped panels on, we can't get to there. I also need to make the space between this not plasterboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 beams like this, 2 planks, and then the wire can go between, and then we're going to staple in fabric over there and over there. So we're going to stretch fabric here, so all the in-betweens are going to be black fabric, and then on the sides I'll do black MDF, but we can do that later. We don't have to do that now. This we have to do now. Also I need to get the multi-tool again, because I need to make a couple of slits, take little blocks of wood out of there. Oh, that's all really tight. Wow, even an acrobat trick. That box has 5,000 staples. I think I'm 2 1,000 in, definitely. So yeah, I've been stapling for a long time. It hurts my hands though. I'm so glad I'm using this one because this is an electrical one. I used to do all panels with this. So you actually, if I do one, you actually have to do this. If you do this entire studio with this, you're gonna have the strongest hands in the world. So grip strength training, do that. Still feeling something in your hand? Do this. Oops, almost got into the electrical wire. Don't want to do that. Oh, this is so great. Yeah, I had that once when I was like 15. I had my home studio. I needed to move my desk, but with that I also needed to move like a power socket. And I actually unscrewed it without thinking. I get very impatient and then I go like, this will be fine. I'll just not touch any of it. And then I opened up the power socket and at some point I actually touched it. I went, tack!
Nice.
Oh.
Little zap.
Little zap. Wow. Okay. Do not try this at home. This is dumb. These are live wires and I'm going to cut right next to it. Am I going to do this? Okay. First, we take off power. And then the little gaps that you may see if you look up are fixed. Cabling up to that part is done.
It is time to get the first panels up on the ceiling. We're starting with the middle ones because I felt at the time that would have been easiest. Anyway, we lift them up to the first row of hooks and connect them with the chains. After that is secured, we lift the other side of the panels up and hang those on their chains as well. Then link by link, we move the panel up until we can get them on the hooks without needing to use the chains. After we knew all of that was going to work on the other panels as well, Oliver and I took down the front row of panels so I could start putting fabric on those. Before all of that goes back on, first I want to get the panels for the sidewalls wrapped. Luckily I could use one of the other studios here so I could still have a little bit of floor space in my room. Here you see me stapling in the black cotton base layer first and then wrapping things up with a smelly white. This entire studio build I have been working until the late hours, and as I was getting back into my room that night, some kind of freak accident happened.
Okay, I don't know how this happened, but oh Jesus. Okay, it's not usable anymore. Somehow this glass panel came out, landed in the panel I just put fabric on, and all of this fell on my head while I had coffee in my hand. So coffee is everywhere. Luckily the coffee machine is not that hot, but wow. Holy f***. I hope I don't have like anything on my head. No, okay. Not bleeding, I'm fine. Okay, the aftermath, the next day. So what I think happened yesterday is I shut the door, and because the air pressure changed in the room, and this somehow was the only way it could regulate the air pressure, so it had to take the air pressure from this point. It was the weakest point. This just yeeted out into this panel that was standing over here. It slid down here, made a massive hole. Here another one. See, what happens again. Then I was here with my hot coffee in my hand. I was here, and this entire thing, including that lamp that was over here, fell on my head. So I've got a war scar now.
Mm-hmm.
I was very lucky. Like, just picking up the piece of glass I cut myself was a bit dumb.
decision from my side. Didn't have to do that, but I wanted to get it out of the way. I was extremely lucky. If I was a little bit more to the front, the glass panel could have gotten in my head. Nobody was around. Yeah,
with a huge
I would
weight.
have been here with a gap in my head, and she could have gone really bad. So luckily, the only real damage that's there is this. But that's just an hour of work and a little bit of fabric. It's fine, we'll fix it. So game plan today, I want to get this on the ceiling so we have room finally. I want the lights up because then also the scaffolding can come out. We can get the rest of the stuff in and then we finally have a little bit of space. Oliver, if you take out the staples from this fabric, you clean this entire frame. I like to use something sharp, like a flathead screwdriver or a scissor or whatever, and I just do this. And you just, yeah. It's a bit of work, requires some patience. I think because the black fabric is only there to cover the plank shining through. We can get away with not redoing the black fabric. For now, let's just take the white fabric off and then I can wrap the other panel in the other room. So if by the end of the day we can get the ceiling panels up and the lights installed, I would be a very happy man. So let's get going.
Right. Let's get the front ceiling panels back up so the front part of the room is ready for gear. Oh, I realized I didn't film the white panels going onto the side walls, but I'm pretty sure you know the drill by now. Next up, I'm mounting the light spots on the sides of the ceiling panels. I'm using 10cm or 4-inch wide beams stacked on top of each other so I can space them far away enough from the ceiling for the lights to poke out underneath the ceiling panels. I am very happy I put these ceiling panels on hooks so I can still use the chains to lower them when I need to access anything around the panels. Trust me, it makes life way easier. After mounting the rails, the lights go on, I can hang the panel back up and hopefully we'll have some normal lights in this room. Okay, lights. Let's see how this looks. Okay, nice. Let's turn you off, don't need you. Looks solid. Okay, apparently I was so exact in my measurements that with that last panel ripping, I did not have enough spare. So this, we're never going to see this, but this is how this panel looks. So I can barely get it over on this side, and then on this side, luckily, this is the side that goes to the wall. Luckily it does work. And yes, we're keeping the rip in the bottom fabric in. Just as a reminder, I just said to Oliver, like, if anybody sees it, it's a conversation piece and it's a reminder of how glass panels can fall on your head. As you can probably tell by my shirt changing, we did not get all of that done in one day. So Paul's here to help me out with the last ceiling panels, and then we are done.
What a ceiling. What a room. It's looking so great. Let's get back to business. As we can see, my biggest concern right now is this 55 hertz. We go to waterfall, you can see that 55 over here lingers on in the room. It's very long. So this means that it goes on for more than 300 milliseconds. So that means it's bouncing between two walls. Now in AMROC, if we go 50.9, the calculations in AMROC and the actual measurements are slightly different, but
yeah, this is a big issue there, so I'm just going to assume that this 51 Hertz on here is the 55 we're measuring over on Room EQ Wizard, so we can see over here that it's a front to back room mode. It's also weird because over here we see that the energy is around 49.7. So what the SPL is showing over here, this is actually showing a bump over here, but then I wonder what this 55 then is. Well, the only thing I can think of that we could do right now is measure that with a actual back wall. So I just put a bunch of rock wool pieces, just a 15 centimeter, 6-inch slabs on the wall, a bit spaced off the wall, so we're going to be where I had the idea of putting the back wall. So this is about where we would have the back wall, and then I've got 2 session blocks in there as well. Let's see what happens. Doesn't do any fucking thing. What the fuck's happening? I'm really starting to doubt if I'm doing this correctly, because I do not believe that this is the result of putting all of that on the back wall. I think I've got some figuring out to do. I have to double check if everything goes correctly. I hope, yeah. On one hand, I hope it goes correctly, but that means that I've got serious issues with the room. On the other hand, I hope it's a technical issue on the measurement side, but then it means I don't have any measurements from the room without the treatment. So then we don't have a baseline test. Yeah. Both not ideal situations. Okay, the mic is fine, so the measurement should be fine. And weirdly enough, this entire contraption just doesn't do anything. I find it so hard to believe. So there's one more thing we can do. If we take that 50 Hertz over there, where the waterfall shows that we've got more energy. Do we still have more energy? Yeah. Okay, so some of that energy over there and on the 25 has actually gone down. That's a good thing, but frequency response wise, we don't have that much of a difference. Here, a couple of dB at, what's that, 49, and then a couple of dB on 71. So that's a little bit more flat, but this dip on 55 is still huge. Now, if we calculate 55 quarter wavelength we need to trap, then we would say 343 meters per second divided by 55 is 6 meters and 23 centimeters for the entire wavelength, divided by 4 to get a quarter wavelength is 155. So at 155 from that back wall, we're now going to place this entire wall. And hopefully that will give us a little bit of a better low-end result. Maybe we'll build a fake wall, so we've got like a control room and a booth over there. Not a big fan of it, but we could. Okay, let's measure once more. Okay, so we have a little bit less over here at 20-ish. This peak that was on 103 on 45 is now on 43 on 100, so that's 3 dB less. This dip has gotten less. Not gone, but it's a lot less. Ooh, this dip. This 106. Ooh, look, we fixed this guy. The 48 Hertz. That is, wow, that's not going on that much longer anymore. Do I want to build a wall there? This is, I think, why I like the idea of the session block, because I can make some kind of storage cabinet on the back wall over there. I talked about that with Marcus, and he says that should be fine. And then I could put the session blocks in front of that. And then when it comes to solving this 50 Hertz issue, I could just move them up and I could mix a little bit more detailed. And if I have a session that I just want to have a little bit more isolation between me and the artist, I can pull up these panels and then have a booth on the back of the room so they can actually be in their own booth. Yeah, I think that could be really cool and multifunctional. We're almost done. I want to complete the corner traps in the back as well, and then nicely make something to hide the air conditioning unit a little bit, and also get some extra bass trapping there in the back corners. So that's what we're going to do first. Well, we've shown you how corner traps are made, so yeah, we'll see you in a sec when they're on.
For these corner traps, we decided to go for the French cleat system. So we're temporarily screwing them to the wall so we can mark off where the cleats need to go. Then we're taking it off, we're putting the French cleat on the back wall, and then we can put on the corner trap again so we can put the actual other side of the French cleat to the frame. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but then you have something, as we say in Dutch. Then I can proceed to wrap that in the first black fabric and then the smelly white on top of it. After that's done, we can fill it with all the glass wool, and then it can go onto the wall and it slides right on. Nice. And it's exactly the same process for the other side. And that's done.
My next idea, we put this entire cabinet together. I took it apart again because I felt with the entire cabinet there I couldn't get all the absorption I think I'm going to need. Now I do want a little bit of cabinet space, but I think this is enough. We did it a little bit different than the previous one, because here you can see that we've got horizontal frames. I did that because I need to add, well, you've got the two-tone here and that's happening. Here we're going to do vertical frames. So we're going to put a frame here and a frame here. Then this cabinet is going to be over there somewhere. We don't know exactly where it's going to be, but that's fine because we can just make these frames.
Yeah.
And then the cover will come on later and we can make the cover exactly the size that it needs to be. And then I think we just put a plank here, maybe.
Seems pretty okay.
Then wing. Okay. Wow, very precise.
I think it also says
we could,
but does the AC still work then?
I don't think so. No.
Then you get really cool panels.
Yeah.
All the air is going in the panel.
I think then the middle one needs to be lower.
Yeah.
After cutting those down a bit, we got all the frames up on the wall and we're ready for the covers.
Okay, that is panel 1 done, the cover, and then panel 2. So now we know where the cabinets are supposed to go. Now I hope this is going to exactly align with that edge, otherwise I've got a problem. And they're the same. And then we can put this one together and I can put all the fabric on.
To pull the rear wall together a little bit more, I had the idea to extend the side walls of those IKEA cabinets. So I'm cutting the shelves I'm not using anymore to the right size. Hopefully this is going to look nice.
Okay, let's see if this actually works. We already beautifully dismantled it, which in hindsight maybe wasn't even necessary. That's how it's gonna be.
Wow, I think I like this. This looks great. I'm just waiting for the sofa for here. But I am very, very happy with the cabinet design, and
deciding to take off the middle shelves and just put like a panel there. That was a good call. I extended these. So yeah, from super close you can see it, but yeah, I don't think you're gonna see it that much. And then we need to finalize the AC part and everything, but that's just details. One question though for you: should I do the brown teddy like that behind the cabinets, or should I leave it white like the rest? Let me know in the comments. Today we're going to get all the gear in and have a workable setup again after a long time. I'm gonna run to the storage and I'm going to grab the desk first. Maybe the mini SSL and the speakers. Maybe we do. Maybe I grabbed the vacuum cleaner first.
And after I got rid of all of the dust, it was time to get the speakers back in and put up the measurement mic, because yes, with every change I do to the room, I want to make sure I have a measurement.
We've got the speakers back in for the 1600th time. What I want to do every time I put something else back in is measure. So we've got the measurement mic on the same position, and then we can see what we get.
I will show some of the measurements in this video, but not all. I will make a dedicated video on all the measurements in the future, so if you want to see that, make sure you hit the follow button. Also, if you want to see more in-depth content, hit the join button to check out the virtual internship. Okay, let's get the session desk Quintov up and add some gear.
Okay, empty desk in. Let's start with some rack gear. First, got some Miad EQs, so number 2. Then 1073, a Tagular very tube compressor. Top over here, we've got a Cranborn Audio HE2, then Tagular numero 2. There's still room. Yeah, let's put that on this side. Last thing we need, power. Okay, then let's see what it does when all this gear is in.
If we take a look at that first measurement, we can see that putting in the gear does make a difference. Not exactly for the better, but we'll make it work.
And then we get the star of the show, star of the studio, the mini SSL. Is it nicer to put it here on the right side, so on my right hand? Or is it nicer to put it on my left hand? The other side of the mini SSL, I can maybe do mini Neve, mini API, mini Behringer X32. Let's see what kind of an impact this does on the speakers. Let's measure again. While listening to some music, I noticed that when I put my head in this position, it actually sounded like it had way nicer low end. It is about 30 centimeters a foot further to the front. Maybe that works. If that works, it also means we have more actual functional room inside of the room. So it's a win-win. That right one actually seems to be more steady in the 100 to 150 range. Seems to be steady low end. Oh, we get a big dip around 145. Okay, full transparency. I did not finish this wall yet. That did not happen. That went perfect. Like I said, perfect. What I wanted to say, I did not fill this up with anything yet. As you can see, I've added some diffusers because I want to know what it does if we don't put absorption everywhere, because yeah, I don't want to make an anechoic chamber over here that feels like you don't want to be here for longer than an hour. It needs to feel like a room you actually want to enjoy.
And this is where trial and error comes in. You try something, you measure, you listen, and you fine tune. So the first thing I want to try is 2 diffusers per side and then fill the rest up with glass wool, and let's just see what that does. Unfortunately, that did nothing at the sweet spot. Well, the whole box in box is done, but we still need to get power and other cables in and out of the room. So you have to drill a hole somewhere. So we made a hole over here for all the cables. So we've got power 1, power 2. That's just the audio power. The other power that I put on the ceiling before is the power for all the lights and everything. So I've got 3 groups in total, of which 2 are now connected, and the third one is there for if I happen to install an SSL console, because maybe I want to install an actual 40 channel SSL console. I don't know. Then we've got 2 Ethernets. One is for normal internet connection. The other is for if I want to go Dante or AVB or other network based protocols. And of course, I could not do audio. So I've got 24 mic lines that we can connect to the outside world with. The only thing is, there's a big gaping hole there, and we do not like big gaping holes.
Are you sure about that?
So I'm going to block that off with this MDF panel. We're going to screw, glue, shaboo that onto there, like that. But first I want to pull every single cable through here. Okay, everything is super snug. Put it in there. And just random screws. Now we can test the audio cables, see if they actually work. Oops. I actually didn't, so it could very well be that they don't work. Okay, we've got WA1B, the V-Comp Plus. We've got a blue Robbie. You were just asking me what was my first professional piece of gear. I think this, together with a TLM 103, was my first, like, when I was like, I'm building a studio, I'm going pro. That was this. Blue Robbie, yes, by Blue Microphones. Not a lot of people know about these. Apollo X8, Apollo X16 second gen, and then we've got the X4 second gen. I want to keep all the Apollos there in that rack. Unsure about monitor controlling yet right now, because I won't have any control over on my desk, which might be very annoying. Now let's first figure out what needs to go where, because the Apollos I'd ideally place as far away as possible. So somewhere here on the bottom. I just need to see if there's input coming in or out. If there's a headphone plugged in, I want to be able to turn that dial. So I think first a drawer here, so we can put little cables in. X16, 1 spacer, because you need a spacer between these Apollos, they get hot. X8, X4 on here. Maybe here, so I can go here for volume control for the time being.
Okay, let's start by putting in the outboard gear. First the 1178 and the V-Comp Plus before we put in the Apollo X16, which connects to the mini SSL. So let's get those connections out of the way first.
Let's see what he did. Group out, AD in, tape mon, DA out. Group tape monitor. Tape monitor. Group out. AD input 1 to 8. Now you see here, I always think it's weird. It's line in 1 to 8 on the bottom, then line in 9 to 16 on the top. I would have done it the other way around, but hey, I'm not working at Universal Audio. This thing is what we need, because the Audioscape is an American version. And it works on 110 volts, so I need to put this thing here. There's like multiple markings. There's like here 110V only, one notice voltage 120V only. Then this says it and that says it. So hopefully I won't have to get any new fuses. This can go in. It's a little bit annoying though. Maybe we put it the other way around. So you remember that amazing rack that we built? It's even more amazing now. I did not put this on crooked. That's not why this side of the sticks out less than this side. It really doesn't matter to me. It's like I'm not selling this stuff. This is just for me. It's a bit crooked. Also the front racks are slightly off. That might annoy me at some point, but hey. Basically I put the power sockets outside. Right now we can easily plug everything in. So I am leaving a little bit of space over here between the Apollos because they get very hot. See how snug it is? At some point there's gonna be a piece of gear with a little bit more coating and it's oh shit, it doesn't fit. We had that with the old Neve rack at the Atlanta studio. I needed to take out that Neve rack. I actually needed to take the Neve rack apart, take out the modules and actually unscrew the sides from the front and the back plate of the Neve rack and then slide that in. So put the rear half in through the back and then the front half on the front and then actually screw in like these screws over there. So we do not want to be doing that over here. So Oliver, you were asking before, do you only do the bottom ones and is that fine? It is because this is just a rack. It's not a flight case. It's not going to be thrown around because we're going to a gig or something. The gravity and the weight of the rest of the case is always going to pull the top of this front plate back. So if we put these in, then these don't need to go in because there's never going to be a situation where this rack will tilt forward unless we do something really stupid, but then we should take the gear out. So gravity will keep this in snug for us. We should have a little bit of space for that. Oh yeah, normal lunch boxes are 3 units high. This one's 4 units high. Yeah. Here temporarily then. Oh, I've got 2 spaces, great. Hey, that thing I was telling you about just now. At some point there's gonna be a piece of gear with a little bit more coating and it's oh shit, it doesn't fit. Yep. The most amazing rack ever built. We just need to put it in here, which is fine. We'll just put it there. Then at least I can get to the tube drive easily. Maybe I'll get the other rack over here, but for now we do this, and then it means that we need to run analog lines there, so we can't do the ADAT route. But I think it's better to do the analog lines anyway, because then we can do chains. We can go into these preamps and then through EQs, analog, we can go through the compressors and we can make nicer chains. Just means I need to spend more money on cables and D-subs. Well, you know what you were getting into, Thomas, when you started this? Then we need to pull some cables this way. But those cables still need to be made. I'm so glad we didn't do like a cable thing on the ceiling, because it would have been this times 20. Next up, I soldered the XLR to D-sub for the gear in this rack. That is far too boring for a public video, so if you want to see that, you can join the virtual internship by clicking the join button down below. I'll see you there. Right, I just pulled some Ethernet and a USB cable for the Carnaby and the Tigler, so let's see if this works. Nice, it actually works. Okay, let's see if the Tigler works as well. Cream. If I push this up, yes, we get motorized knobs there. Okay, that's super good news, because then I can just do my stem master today. By the way, if you want to pick up any of the Tigler stuff, I can get you a little bit of a discount with an affiliate link I will post below this video, and with that you get a bit of a discount on anything Tigler makes. Trust me, they make cool stuff. And I get a little bit of a kickback, so I have a little bit more money to finally finish up this studio. Okay, we pushed the mic. What's this? A foot? 30 centimeter, 40 centimeter.
Metric here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hey, there's 25% of
FYI,
you
we're
that's
not
actually
we're not
in
American.
the States, so I'm considerate.
Okay.
Unlike Paul. What we get then is that here on 109 hertz, we actually go from 83.5 to 89. So that's 6 dB increase. And then over here we go from 85 to 88. So that's a 3 dB increase. Over here we get a big increase, but we also get a dip over here. And here we get a new dip. But as I mentioned earlier, that's above 300, so we're not considering that right now. We do get a lot of energy at 47 we did not have in the previous one. Okay. So, room mode wise, it might not be the best idea. We did a lot. That apparently doesn't do anything. We moved the desk forward, we pushed the speakers together, we moved the mic 5 times, we built an entire back wall and finished the corner traps on the back. And, okay, you want to see the before and after? This is the before and after. I don't have to tell you which line is which because it's the fucking same line. How is this? Okay, there's a little bit here. Red is July 11. No back wall, no nothing. Nothing happened there. Now, after an entire extra day of work, we're at the blue line. Okay, that did something, that did nothing, it just moved. This did something. If anybody out there knows more about acoustics than I do, I hope there are people, because I know there are people. Help me out.
Send us an email.
Send us an email of 5 billion pages. If you know how to fix the 100 to 160 hertz area, and what's causing it? We know what's causing it, kinda. Yeah, the room mode. Well, the 110 is not a room mode. The room mode is on 100. And then 144 is 150, basically.
But we're not sure, right? If it's
152.
Yeah.
And then 100 is here. They're both longitudinal room modes, which do not get fixed by all the absorption on the back wall. So either we get rid of the cabinet and fully push absorption in there, which I am not a fan.
I don't think it's gonna work too.
No.
Because this is doing basically nothing. So why would it work if you fill it all the way up?
Exactly.
We're almost done with the studio build, but first I want to make sure the front part of the room is ready. An important part is the cabinets on my sides that will hopefully in the future house my Atmos speakers. First I'm test fitting the frame without the shelves to see if it actually fits.
Very, very snug. Okay, and that is the right one and the left one in. I just need to do the planks, and hopefully with the planks we can push it out a bit so these gaps are not going to be there anymore. And there we go. We've got the side cabinets completed. So I think that is going to be it for today. Let's see how that looks from here. Nice, looks great.
And of course, a studio would not be finished if it doesn't have a Chesterfield couch and a Persian rug. Nice. What do you think, Junes? He's like, can we please just go to a park and run?
Okay, we are done with the studio build. Now comes the part that we're going to fine tune. So you've seen me do a couple of measurements in this video already, but we still have a couple of issues. We've got a big one over here on 140-ish, and I found out something very interesting from my fellow YouTuber, Panorama Mastering. He said this.
You're going to be surprised, and I surprised myself with this, the floor. This is where my ego got the better of me. Both Ed Thorne and Drew from Warp Academy warned me about floor SBIR issues. And when I was doing my test, I was finding this weird null at 140 hertz, which is exactly where they had told me about, but I brushed it off because it just sounded arbitrary, like an arbitrary frequency. How can it be that?
So we are going to try exactly that, because if it's a speaker boundary interference floor bounce, then according to him and the experts he talked to, if we just slap pieces of glass wool here on the floor, we should see a change in that 140 hertz dip.
So that's what we did. We tried a couple of variations and made some measurements.
Okay, so we've tried a couple, we've laid them flat on the floor, that didn't really do anything, barely made a dent, like a couple dB. Even though that's the easiest way to do it, doesn't really help us. Then we went to the middle ones, so next to the stand. That did something. It took it from 86 to 91. So that is a 5 dB increase, nice. But how are we going to do that? Are we going to make a podium with like rock wool underneath? Yeah, that's not doable. We did how they are, how you see them right now. So right in front of the speakers, so any bounce goes through it and then it can't come up anymore. That did do something. So it's 84 to 93. But again, super impractical. The last thing I want to do, I want to try this one on the floor. He did say, make sure it is at least 20 centimeters, 4 inches, 8 inches. I don't know, man. So that one sheet is 15. This would be 30. So if we now measure the right speaker only, we can see if that actually dipped more than with just 15 centimeters. Doesn't do anything extra. So what I'm thinking is problematic here is that we don't have room to put these. If you look at his setup, you see that he has room to put stuff between him and the speakers. Now I've pushed the desk so far to the front to get the best response over here that I don't have that luxury anymore. The only thing we could do still, either we do something like this, placing them like that. Not really sure if that's going to do anything. Or we make some kind of block in front of the speaker stand. Half of this next to each other, and then we fill up this space here with rock wool. Should we just cut up a couple, put it there, measure, see if that would work? If that would work. So we notice now that with these over here, we actually get a better result than when we did it with against the stand. Orange one was before, and then the brown one is how we have it right now. If we compare it to this, what it was, so orange over here on 125 was at 84 decibel, and now it's on 91. At 140 on the right side, we went from 87 to 92. If I can have my lowest lows at 92 and my highest highs at 102, I think I'm almost there. Next thing I want to try though, I put those panels on hooks and chains for a reason. Because I really am curious what this is going to do if we set this at a different angle. So we create a different air gap above the speakers.
So we push the panels up a little bit, making the angle less and leaving a smaller air gap. And of course, we measured again.
Okay, we put up the ceiling panels a little bit higher on the end. Yeah, it did something, but in the end, this way, the lowest position is just better. It takes care of a lot more absorption. So I decided to put it back and leave it here. And with these in between, we are finally at a point. I know I said plus and minus 10 dB within a 10 dB window, we're within a 12 dB window. I'm happy enough with that I now want to see what the calibration software can do. So, as you may know, my Apollos have SonarWorks built in. It says it takes 20 minutes. It's gonna take a while, but hey, if you want to do something in a good way, you need to take your time. We are going to do this in, we say bird flight in Dutch. And then we'll talk about the result after. We see if we can get this. We're never gonna get a flat because that's just unnatural, but maybe we can get it in the ±6 range. And then we're going to check how it actually sounds.
And off we go, measuring 37 individual points so SonarWorks can do its thing.
Okay, so we've put Sound ID reference on, and of course I couldn't help but actually measure what that would do in Room EQ Wizard as well. So you can see over here on the blue line, theoretically, the low end, yeah, we're more flat. It didn't do anything to the 70 Hz, which is interesting, but it did a lot to that issue we have in the low mids over here. That got a lot more flat, and it wanted to add a lot more high end. Does look promising on paper, so maybe that's the key to getting a flat response in this room.
Or could this maybe help you out?
Could this maybe help me out? That's for another video. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe to this channel, you like this video, you comment something down below. You can still comment happy birthday, even though that was like last week. If you want to help me build a nicer studio, you can pick up some gear on Gamer Audio Germany and the UK with the code Thomas5. You get 5% discount on something like a Trinon, for example, or Neves, or Carnaby's, or Tegeler gear. Actually, Tegeler gear you can pick up with a 10% discount if you check out the description down below. Later. Oh, I almost forgot. We went from this to this.